Welcome to Psychic Girls Next Door. We are your hosts, Lili Marino
and Shannon Miller. This podcast is for all spirituality enthusiasts and psychics next door to share tools, experiences, and spiritual practices that align with your highest vibrational self.
So on this episode, we'll be exploring the third chakra. So this is our chakra series. And if you haven't listen to the first and the second, we'll leave links in the show notes. But the third chakra, it's also known as the Manipura Chakra in Sanskrit. And it's also one of the 7 primary chakras in the human body, according to the traditional Indian and yogic philosophies. So basically, the third chakra is located, it's called like the solar plexus. So it's kind of like right in this area here. Where it sits, and it's associated with personal power, self-esteem, and self-identity. So it gives you like a notion of who you are in the world. A lot of people also associate the third chakra with ego too. So it's something that we can talk about it, as well.
Yes, the ego, what a complex thing.
Oh my gosh, we could go have probably a whole episode dedicated to the ego.
It's so easy to spot when somebody else is in expressing through their ego, but yet when you are expressing through your ego, it can be harder to own and recognize. But the third chakra, I'm so excited because this is something that I have been actively working on, I think since even before our meditation program that we did a few years ago. It plays a vital role in our sense of self. It's related to personal power and willpower. It is also closely associated with the color yellow and the element of fire, kind of like that inner fire when everyone's yeah, you got to just tap into your inner fire. This is what they're talking about, the fuel to your fire, your passion, your drive. This can be associated with the third chakra. So when you're tapping into that sense of yourself, what you're passionate about, how you're running your energy, you're activating the third. And so it's also closely, I already said that, it can be balanced and healed through various spiritual and holistic practices. And balancing this chakra can contribute to a greater sense of self-confidence and empowerment in one's own life. So what has your journey been like with the third chakra? I would love to know.
I think it's been my whole life.
Yeah.
The same. I think it has been all about empowerment and personal power. It's interesting enough, when I first started, this healing journey, I never realized how disempowered I was and how I always gave my power away. And it has a lot to do with the way that I was raised, because my default was to always deflect. Taking any accountability of things, always put the responsibility and blame on others, and never really stand on my own power, and really stand up for myself.
Yeah.
That was never allowed in the household where I grew up at. Actually, we were punished if you have to stand up for yourself or speak up for yourself too. But also on the other side of it, because it's also a lot related to self-identity. If you have listened to previous episodes, like how I grew up in this Latino country, being Asian, and reminded every day that I was different. So for me, also learning who I was and how to identify myself and how to not even how do I fit in, but who was I, because I wasn't fully Latina. I wasn't fully Asian.
Right.
Who was I?
Right.
So I think one of the things that I probably, as I took this body as spirit, was to also work on defining my self-identity. Who am I and what is my purpose in life? And how do I become more empowered so I can also inspire others to be empowered as well?
I love that.
But it's still quite the journey.
It's an ongoing journey. Right? The path is never ending.
It's not linear.
It's not linear. Yeah. Yeah. I feel
And
like,
how has it been for you?
yeah, I feel like mine has been not similar in the sense of like our, cultural background, but I feel like as a kid, I had to kind of take on the role of the parent in some dynamics within my family, like not all the time, but like kind of like having to, in order to like get some attention, I had to like I took on the role of like the overachiever as a kid. And so, because my sister, she's very vocal. She was very vocal about her needs and what she needed. And she's still very vocal. Love her dearly. I always know what she needs. Where I feel like I didn't really get to express that as a kid, and I didn't know how to do that. And I think a lot of, when you're unable to really express like who you are or what you need, and like to keep your energy levels up, and like what you need from a survival stance, and if you're not getting that, so a lot of my journey has been like the first, second, third in a lot of different ways, until we found the meditation school. Then I really activated my upper chakras, but then it's been this constant like experience and journey of like, how do I integrate my lower chakras with my upper chakras? There's always this like break, and I've gotten several readings, and I don't want to say always, because there's a lot of power in that too, but a lot of my readings, they're like, you aren't fully integrating the fourth and the third, and that's where your body being connection is. And so being able to like fully be in my body and feel comfortable, it's been this constant battle of like my body needing something and then my being wanting something else beyond my body's scope and abilities. And so like a lot of judgment has been residing, between my fourth and my third. And so I associate my third and my fourth together because of that journey that I've been on. And we'll go into the fourth in like the next one, but being able to fully kind of embrace like, what does it feel like to be in your body? How am I running my energy? And I've been on this recent like wellness journey. Fitness is part of that as well. I've had a lot. I have had. There we go. Mm-hmm. Being very deliberate about how I say things and like how I'm communicating about my experiences, because there's power in words.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
When you say things like...
Speaking it into existence.
Yes, pretty much, because when you say I am, you're basically affirming that.
And that's very third chakra, because that's your identity. And so where like the second is I feel. And so with the third chakra, whenever you say I am something, it's very concrete. It's very like,
or I do.
Yes. Yeah, what you do. And so I have been going to the gym pretty regularly, which is great. I took a women's weightlifting class, and it's been fun to kind of try on new versions of myself. I feel like I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be a gym girly. And like, I don't have fake nails today, but I did for a few weeks. And I'm like, wow, I'm going to be like a nail girly, gym girly, like tapping into that new energy and being able to, it feels really good to do something for myself.
Well, that is empowering.
It is empowering.
If you think about it.
Yeah.
Because you're doing something that makes you feel good.
Yes.
And
I'm listening to my body's needs.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And you feel good afterwards.
Yeah. When I like check it off the list, I love to-do lists.
And then when you do something new, not only that you have enjoyed and you want to do it again, you're like, wow, look at what my body can do.
Right.
It's amazing.
Totally. And like, I think this women's weightlifting class, it's at Iron and Metal in Noe Valley in San Francisco. If you're listening, if you have been a resistant gym girly, or you don't know what you're doing in the gym and you want to get into weightlifting and you want to learn how to properly lift, we have been seeing Coach Sammy. She's great. I've been going with my friend Ami, and we have been properly learning how to do the correct form and in a very safe environment. Like, I feel so safe. And I mean, yes, the classes are an investment, but for me, I'm like, I would spend that money in silly ways anyway. So it's been also really great to be a financially savvy girly as well.
Yeah.
And really empower myself to look at, how am I spending my money? How am I spending my time? What are the thoughts that I'm thinking about myself? And this episode could not be more appropriate with everything that I've been focusing on, focusing how I talk to myself. Like, if I am in a negative talk track, it's usually correlated to like me nitpicking my body, or like I didn't do everything on my to-do list, like that. I have experienced that type of mental guilt in a way. And so that causes me to like not really honor my body's needs or my mental needs either. So like experiencing that like internal clash, it can happen.
Well, because it's invalidating.
Right.
Whenever you invalidate yourself or your body, then it creates this like spiral.
Right. This disconnection.
Yeah. That's like, you just get disconnected from your body, and then you do things that kind of reinforce that.
Right. Exactly.
It becomes this like endless cycle.
Right. Right.
And then,
confirmation bias.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And then you're just like so used to it that it's just like it's habitual.
Right.
And it's familiar. So you just keep doing it.
Right. And it's like your own personal health.
Yeah. Until you develop either like some sense of self-awareness. So one of the things to help also balance the third chakra is just having some sense of awareness. Mm-hmm. Because I also see the third chakra too very related to control, either self-control or lack of control. Whenever like I'm giving someone a reading and I'm drawn into the third chakra, mm-hmm. a lot has to do. The powerlessness that people feel has a lot to do with feeling out of control.
Yeah.
Either internally or within their outside situation. And I have gone through a very recent situation when I felt like a lot of things outside me were out of control. Mm-hmm. But then again, like at the end of the day, I have to decide where do I want to invest my energy? If I'm investing my energy and putting all my time and energy on things that I don't have control over, it's a waste of energy.
Absolutely.
And you will feel out of control because you can't control things that are outside of you. No. The only thing that you can control is your inner world. So for me, it was just like taking a look and saying, well, I can't control my emotions. Mm-hmm. I can control my actions. So this is what I can control, and that gives me a sense of empowerment,
right?
And just tapping into my personal power.
I love that.
What are the things that I can control, and what I can do to help myself, not feeling like out of control. And you see this like in people that are very controlling.
Oh yes, that's
in a bad like. All of us has met or are in situations where we know someone, they're very controlling, very like,
rigid in their ways, like
it's very black and white with things, so that's an imbalance of the third chakra.
Right. Either not trusting the people around them or themselves in a lot of different environments or situations. Like, I think the control thing, like, I can just think of like whenever my friends have dated men who are super controlling with like, whether it's like what they eat, like how often they go to the gym, how they're spending their money. It makes me think that and see energetically that there's some type of like, they either don't trust themselves to be in control of their own life, so they hand the keys over to somebody else to drive the car, metaphorically speaking, or they just there's an energetic match if you're in a relationship dynamic where someone is just taking control all the time. And like some people are more subtle about it too, like you don't see that they're controlling right away, and then all of a sudden you might be in a dynamic, but you have to ask yourself, what is in my space and my belief system where I essentially allowed this to happen.
Yeah, you're matching that.
Yeah.
At different levels. And then also I see it's very related to how people's upbringing. If you look at your childhood and how there might have been situations when you felt things that were out of control in your life, and how is this like playing out in your current life? Could have been situations within the parents or siblings or whatever that was that made you feel like you had no control over, and therefore there's this feeling of whether it be like a low self-esteem or insecurity about things. So therefore that kind of matches, this imbalanced energy. And again, like the way that you also feel in your physical body, when people complain a lot about like digestive issues, kidney, liver, it's all about also related to the third chakra, because it's all like in the solar plexus, like the navel area.
Yeah.
When you feel like all those physical sensations in this area. So it's a great guide to explore the third chakra,
right?
Because it's very related to
it's
that.
Your body telling you like, hey, you might be feeling out of control, or you might be feeling controlled by somebody else, or a dynamic or situation at play. And so your body stores that energy. It's like keeping it on reserve.
Yeah, well, the body keeps score. Like it's even there's a book about that too.
Yeah, the body keeps the score.
Keeps the score, where the body memorizes everything that has happened to you, and the way that it shows up later in life is with a not a memory but a reaction.
Yeah.
So sometimes you react in certain ways, you don't even know why.
Totally.
But there are a lot of like underlying memories, and it might be more like on a subconscious level. So I think it is important to explore certain behaviors and patterns, whether it be through therapy, counseling, journaling, or meditation, yoga, whatever is it that you feel like it's going to be supportive in this journey of self-reflection and awareness. Because the more you know yourself, the better quality of life you're going to have.
Yeah, you'll attract more certainty. If you're certain within yourself, and granted, perspective is everybody's reality, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so if you have the perspective of certainty, and like for me, I've been operating, like this is something I keep saying at work all the time, but like everything always works out.
Everything always works out in your favor.
Exactly.
If you believe in that,
yeah,
it will.
Exactly. And I wholeheartedly believe like everything is always working out for you. And it's taken me a long time to get to that point of like cleaning out a lot of my victim energy from like friendship dynamics. And like, I remembered I would get my feelings hurt all the time in high school and feel powerless and insecure, and like really nitpick, and like I kind of attacked just try to figure out logically like why someone else thinks it was all externally focused.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as I started, this program, I could probably sell it every day to anyone who's willing to listen. But like, as soon as I realized like, oh, I have to flip that. And even like, I'm still like learning, like when I've talked to you about this, I've talked about, just, I'm not dating anyone currently. I'm not really open to dating anyone currently, but like when I get to that point, like when I was dating, I was like, oh, I wonder if they'll like me. I hope they like me. And like, it's putting the power on them to validate me by them liking me. And then I'm powerless in that dynamic.
Yeah, because the fault should be, do you like that?
Right. And I've never liked any of the guys I've dated.
Right. So that's taking your power back. It's just saying, do I like them? So it's kind of a way of standing up for yourself, but also being assertive.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things that I have been also working on a lot, is just being assertive with my own decisions and on what I want and what I need. And it's been a process, because being someone that also, I always been a people pleaser, always saying, never knew how to say no to things. I didn't know what boundaries were until like not too long ago.
Right.
So all of this has been this journey of learning how to become more assertive in situations. And again, this doesn't mean that I'm aggressive, that I am rude. It's just mean that I really stand up for what I believe and what I need at that moment.
Right. You're actively tapped into yourself.
And again, being assertive, it means that I am tapping into my own personal power.
Yeah.
And that makes me empowered. And hopefully this also like it creates a ripple effect around me where people also feel comfortable and safe also standing up for themselves.
Totally.
But one thing I wanted to share, the way that I really like realized how empowered I felt. So when I was started taking this our meditation training, again, I'm not trying to sell this, just saying we're not paid to talk
This
about.
is not sponsored.
Not sponsored, just saying, I remember when I started taking classes and I took, there's like different levels that we take. And I took step 1 and I remember that all my dreams that I used to have, I was never able to walk like standing up.
Oh, weird.
Yes. And everything, whenever I have to walk in my dreams, it was always like crawling. Or me having to like hang on to things to like actually like moving forward and standing up on my 2 feet.
Yeah.
And
speaking of feet,
Zoe, Shannon's cat, he's just like rubbing herself into my feet here. You can't see it, but
yeah,
it's very cute. So this used to be my dreams through my whole life. And then when I started this program, I remember like I was like finished that step 1, and I remember I had this dream where I was actually like hiking it was like up like some rocks or whatever there was, and I was wearing hiking boots, and I remember looking at my hiking boots and saying, I'm standing.
That's interesting.
And actually like standing up and actually saw myself like hiking up.
Right.
Straight up.
So something shifted.
Yeah, so something definitely shifted, and just the realization of that, of like how I started feeling empowered and feeling like I could stand up for myself. For me, that was like a big, like a visual reminder of this journey that I've been in, that I started like healing, whatever I was working on back, and just becoming more assertive in my life. And to me, that was just like where you finally like, when you put in the keys into the lock and then it clicks and it opens this door, and I'm like, wow, this is possible.
Oh yeah.
Because when you tap into possibilities, that's when you're like, yes, well, you're capable.
Yeah, it'll be part of that confirmation bias, and like it changes from uncertainty and insecurity to certainty, and knowing that things are going to work out for you, and knowing that you can trust in the universe or whatever process you're going through, and just knowing that the outcome will be in your favor, whatever that means for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
I agree.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so there was like a very a turning point in my life when that happened. But it's still, and again, this type of things, it's not going to happen overnight. It's something that really you have to become aware, and, it's a consistent work.
Yeah, it is consistent work. Something that you can do to balance the third chakra, it involves meditation. You can practice yoga, deep breathing exercises. I know that you've been practicing breathing exercises.
Breath work.
Yeah, breath work.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and like also visualizing, and you can wear the color yellow to tap into that energy, which is really interesting.
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I am not a big fan of yellow.
I am not a yellow girl either.
It doesn't really match my complexion.
No.
I don't even own anything yellow.
Maybe, are you like an autumn season palette? Like
probably more like the darker shades.
Do you wear gold?
Yeah, gold.
Jewelry?
I like
yeah,
it. Yeah, gold.
Yeah,
I like
you're
it
probably an autumn.
Yeah,
you could wear like mustard or like gold.
Probably.
There's different versions of yellow.
But yellow, I'm not like really like. Some people look great in yellow.
Oh, totally.
But people like me that I do have more like a yellow undertone, so it's like, oh no, thank you. That does not look good at all.
Yeah, I think I'm a light summer, so I would have to wear like a cream. creamy light yellow.
Yeah,
But
but I would say, whatever resonates. I don't usually like associate chakras and colors. I know that, that's kind of what it's spread like out in literature, like chakras being like related to certain colors. Like even when I am reading people's energy, the chakras, they always have different colors and they shift colors when you start healing them, so, and they all have like different meanings. So I would say like whatever resonates, you can ask yourself when you are in a quiet space, oh, what color feels healing to my third chakra? And just bring that color in.
yeah.
Whatever feels soothing to you. I would just like steer away from like black
Right.
and this type of colors, but whatever resonates with you. It's very healing. It's a vibrational healing that you bring into your chakra.
Yeah, I wear citrine, and that's a yellow,
like a crystal?
Yeah, the color. Yeah, the crystal. And we were talking about Isis earlier. I wear an Isis necklace with.
Oh, it's the goddess.
Yeah,
so.
it's the goddess Isis. I wear a necklace with the goddess Isis, and it has a yellow. It's like a pendant, and I got it in
yellow.
Sedona.
It's very related to abundance.
Yeah,
right. Gold,
exactly.
and
Success, like
all that stuff.
Yeah,
the sun.
So, yeah, exactly. Citrine. And I went on a walk today. I love walking at like 11 a.m. That's kind of like my favorite time to walk because the sun isn't too hot, and it was gorgeous. And I feel like that set my energetic space up for the day. And I love walking in the morning because there's something about doing something for yourself. For me, I've been activating this, like really integrating and listening to my body's needs when it comes to, different foods to eat, and like trusting that, trusting that I'm doing the thing that I need to do for myself to feel as vibrant as possible. Like my goal is to show up fully, especially in any context that I'm in where I have ADHD. So that can make me feel like a space cadet. And I've been on my medication, which is great. And I think that's been helping me tune the excess noise out and really tap into listening to my body's needs, and not promoting medication at all. But I think for me, when I'm not on it, I notice that I'm not in my body and I float away because I want to be creative and like tap into the astral plane. And like, that's my natural state. But for me on this journey of like integration and moving like progress for integration between the body and the being, I think it has helped to really, move my body and move that energy, and that could be helpful for you as well. Like
well, you have to think that because we have talked about so far about the first, the second, and the third, and these are we call the lower chakras. So they're very body related chakras. So they're very in the physical world, right? So things like the emotions and the feeling of like moving on in life and surviving and all of that control. So this is all about this lower chakras. So that's why you feel it so intensely.
The tangibility of it.
Yeah, the physical, right? Yeah. So it's very much related to those chakras. And then as we move on into our chakra series, then, we're going to start moving out of less on the physical. And then we'll dive into the upper chakras. Yeah. But I would love to know, was there any situation in your life where you feel like you give your power away? And this is something that I would like to, if our listeners would like to share with us. Where do you give your power away? Where do you notice that it goes? Where do you feel like there's a lack of identity? Do you feel like you have to fit in somewhere to belong in a setting? I mean, how does the third chakra play in your life? I mean, securities, I think we all have them, right?
Yeah,
and that's
totally
normal. But how does it show up? I mean, do you feel like your third chakra plays a big role in your life? Do you feel like, what do you do to balance that? So we would love to know. Share with us any comments, stories. We would love to listen to them and read them. We're all over social media. So DM us, contact us, follow us. And thank you so much for listening to us, sharing about our third chakras.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much from the Psychic Girls Next Door.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.